Hello everyone, welcome back to the Film Feast. My name is Sam Donchis, I am your host, and holy crap, I'm so sorry that the episodes have been getting to you so late. I thought I would get better at juggling this whole having a real job versus hosting a web show, but it's just not really working out like I thought it would. Plus, this past week I tried to eat food and my stomach was all like, "Food shall not pass!" And then I threw it back up, like 8 or 9 times. What's that you say? You're not here for TMI? Oh well, I don't care. I'm the host. But to the patient few of you who wait, I do appreciate it. Last week's episode of the Film Feast was horrendously, and I mean inexcusably late, and this episode's gonna be the same. I don't have any video reviews planned, and I usually can't get my act together to do the appetizer or TV dinner a lot lately, so you just gotta trust that things come together. And just a quick announcement before I get to the news, my Wolf of Wall Street Ultraviolet Code giveaway is still going on right now. Just comment on that episode of the Film Feast, the giveaway episode, not this video, and tell me what your favorite Martin Scorsese movie is, and you could win. Anyway, on to the news and stuff. Per The Hollywood Reporter, Peter Mayhew will be returning as Chewbacca in Star Wars Episode 7, which should be no surprise. Chewbacca has a very long life, and if you have looked into the expanded universe, you know that he lives a very, very long life with a lot of events happening in it, and he dies a very epic and arguably heroic death. You can read this in pretty much any expanded universe encyclopedia, but he's basically crushed by a moon while the Millennium Falcon gets away. But you know what, I'm sure he had lived a very full life up until that point, and you know, if you gotta go out, why not get crushed by a moon, I say. When I first heard about this news and saw the picture that the Hollywood Reporter used, I was like, man, Peter Mayhew is old. He's really old. Like, are they sure they want to put him in a big, furry, hot costume old? But upon looking at his birthday, he is only 69, which really isn't that old. There are older actors doing crazier things for movies, so, you know, I guess, you know, it works. Obviously, depending on his state of health and so on and so forth. So yeah, Chewbacca's coming back! Woo! Party all night, right? I'm pretty happy about the news, all things considered. Originally, I wanted this new franchise to distance itself from the original trilogy and pretty much all movies that had happened thus far. But you know what, they're sticking with it, and considering, you know, I think Chewbacca would work very well back into the series as long as they don't do any crazy CGI work with him or anything like that. They keep the character intact, and I think that'll make everyone happy. Jeff Snyder, reporter at TheWrap.com, tweeted the other day that he heard from his sources that Phil Lord and Chris Miller are walking away from Ghostbusters 3. The other week, I brought you the story of former Deadline editor-in-chief, and she heard from her sources that Phil Lord and Chris Miller were going to be taking over on Ghostbusters 3 for Ivan Reitman, who had exited the picture days before, which didn't sound like such a bad idea in a big vat of really bad ideas. And now it's official that the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and Lego Movie directors will not be taking over on the movie. While Ghostbusters 3 would have been a challenge, I'm very happy to see that they're looking elsewhere. Also from the Hollywood Reporter this week, Drew Goddard has been hired to direct The Sinister Six. If you don't already know, The Sinister Six is the big villain-heavy movie that this new Amazing Spider-Man franchise is building up to. And Drew Goddard was already tapped to write the movie, and now it's just confirmed that he's going to be directing it. But he is also directing the Marvel Netflix Daredevil series. So he's got his hands in 2 different Marvel properties right now, both headed up by different studios. And this Sinister Six film is a good ways off. I think we're still going to see another Spider-Man film before we see it, possibly a Venom movie. And I have a good feeling that Drew Goddard's going to focus on his Daredevil series, which is a passion project for him, before he moves over to the Sinister Six. Deadline reports that Game of Thrones showrunners D.B. Weiss and David Benioff have been tapped to direct Dirty White Boys. Dirty White Boys is actually a crime novel from 1995 written by Stephen Hunter, and it's about 3 escaped convicts on the run. So why Weiss and Benioff? Not saying that they're wrong for it, just different. Their directorial credits are kind of slim, each of them only directing 1 episode of Game of Thrones from different seasons. So I think the microscope is more placed on the fact that they are directing a movie, rather than will they be able to direct it well. And if they don't, I don't think it's the end of the world. And now for the top story of the week. You may have heard about this film Divergent. It's in theaters right now. I haven't seen it because I don't get down with a lot of those young adult fiction novel adaptations. But this is a part of a book trilogy, and it has just been announced that the third book in that trilogy, Allegiant, will be split into 2 films. As you all know, this is a trend that began with Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows being split into the 7th and 8th movies, and then Breaking Dawn getting split into the 4th and 5th movies, and you know where it goes from there. Yes, it does make a lot of money, but I think that it also kind of alienates the core fans of the novel. Why would it alienate them, you ask? They're fans, they want to see their material displayed across as much material as possible. While I can vouch for the Deathly Hallows, I don't know if I can do that for this movie. I don't even know if I can do that for Mockingjay, which I am excited to see, but I don't know. But me, as a non-fan of these books, I should have no problem with it. It's just a money-making tactic. What's there really to worry about? But when I dig into it a little bit more, I think it's a telling state of affairs for how we treat audiences who read versus audiences who just watch. Studios, while yes, are just trying to make an easy buck, are also trying to cater to the latter, the audiences who watch. And in my opinion, that influences a culture of watching instead of reading. I know, I might be digging a little too much, but that's just what I see. You should talk about it in the comments below. Allegiant Part 1 will be coming out March 18th, 2016, and Part 2 on March 24th, 2017. And now real quick, I want to talk about the trailer of the week. Not a lot to pick from this week, but I do want to talk about Wish I Was Here, the new Zach Braff movie. This was a pretty big deal when it was crowdsourced back a year ago, 2 years ago. It was on Kickstarter, and a lot of people said, oh, Zach Braff, you have money, why don't you fund this yourself, so on and so forth. You have rich friends who could fund this, people who could fund this, just do that and make it that way. But obviously, there are people who want to see more films from Zach Braff. Garden State is a beloved film. And now this film is here. It debuted at Sundance to fairly mixed reviews, but I actually kind of like the look of this trailer. Some of it annoys me, some of it is kind of really cool to me, and a lot of it is just in the middle. But for that cool stuff, I want you to check out the trailer. As always, the link is in the D-Box. And that is it for this week's Film Feast. Go out there and have an awesome week. I will be here next week with film news, hopefully not too late. Go enter for a chance to win my Wolf of Wall Street Ultraviolet code. Again, comment on last week's Film Feast episode. And thank you for watching. Bye. Okay, so I'm almost caught up. That's good, right? I'm about to record a new episode of the Film Feast, and while that's not going to get to you promptly, it is going to get to you earlier than some of these previous videos. I'm also planning on shooting an episode of TV Dinner by, let's say, next weekend, which for me is pretty good. I haven't been putting a lot of content out there, but it is on my brain, and I do have the drive to do it. I just don't have the time to edit all of it. So yeah, keep being patient with me, and I will deliver. Also, I will be picking the winner of the Wolf of Wall Street Ultraviolet code very soon, so keep an eye on your YouTube inbox for that, and you might get a message from me. Other than that, stay tuned for the next episode and have a happy Easter.